One tough cop to one of the most plugged-in guys on Wall Street. And he's Charlie Gasparino, special guest right now. Charlie.
It's not me, but it's Beau Dietl. I just wanted to say, Beau Dietl, former New York City cop, I guess TV, radio personality on IMAs. I'm going to list the number of people I've met through Beau Dietl. This is amazing. Warren Buffett, Sumner Redstone, Steve Cohen, Dick Fold, Dick Rosso. I'm sure I'm leaving 5 or 10 people off of this. How do you go from being a cop, private investigator is what you do now, to being, who's someone who I really could say, because I know a lot of people on Wall Street, one of the most plugged-in guys on the street?
Well, I think it's all about networking. You see, when I retired, I was only 35 years old. I got hurt, and then Nick Pileggi, that wrote Goodfellas and Wise Guy, he put me as a feature story in New York Magazine, and from that, I had this table at Rayo's, Italian restaurant.
The famous Italian restaurant in East Harlem, yep.
Since 1977.
Nobody could get into it but you, apparently.
Right, and I started utilizing that table as a maneuvering point, and everyone would call me up to get on that table. And subsequently, every corporate chairman, giant, every actor, Bruce Willis, you name them, Anthony Quinn,
right.
All my buddies are always.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Rayo's, because the first time I met Warren Buffett about 5 or 6 years ago was at your table at Rayo's. Tell me about your relationship with Buffett. Do you talk to him much?
Yeah, well, I tell you one thing. I call Warren Buffett up now. He picks up the phone. I'm very honored that he's a friend. And the big table we had up there one night was Buffett, the fellow Herb Allen, then Don Quixote, the former head of Coca-Cola, and Murphy from Cap Cities, and Richard Santulli from NetJets. And I'll never forget that night that I was there. I blew them all off. I said, I got to leave. And Richard Santulli said, you're leaving Warren Buffett, all these guys? I said, yeah, my friend John Myers' son David's coming back from
John Myers, former head of GE Capital.
Right, from Iraq, and we're having a party at Nino's, and I left them flat. So, you don't usually leave Warren Buffett, but I did.
Another guy, that's pretty funny. Another guy I met through you once, again, about 5 years ago, was Sumner Redstone, head of Viacom.
Great man.
Is he still active in his company? I mean, he's older now, obviously.
Active. He owns, I think, about 65% of the trading stock of Viacom and CBS. They counted him out about 3 years ago. I was at his house in Beverly Hills when they were trying to sell off National Amusements. The stock was down, CBS was down to about $5, and Viacom was about $10, $12. Right. Now look at it now. Viacom's up near 60, CBS is up near 25. Sumner Redstone is still very actively involved.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
Talked to him Saturday.
What'd you ask him?
We had a little personal business we were talking about, but I tell you what, this man is the sharpest piece of work you ever want to meet. He's 89 years old, and nothing goes by Sumner Redstone.
Another guy that I've seen you with at restaurants in New York City, who's under a lot of pressure right now. His firm, SAC Capital, is, as you know, wrapped up in this big insider trading investigation. It's Steve Cohen. What's going on with Steve?
Well, I was just with Steve. I flew out on his plane. It was very, very nice to fly me out to Vegas to the hedge fund conference.
It was about 2 weeks ago, right?
And I flew out with his lovely wife, Alex. And I'm going to tell you something about the Cohens, and especially about Steve Cohen. There ain't a shot in hell that this man has done anything wrong. He's a very smart man. The only thing I know about Steve Cohen is he trades his own things. He looks at his own things. If anybody gave him a tip, what he would say? I don't want your tip.
Well, from a personal standpoint, he sees his name in the paper. We talk about it all the time. Is it having an impact on him personally?
Well, you want to know something? Targets, and you know yourself, if these U.S. attorneys want to get somebody who's in trouble looking at jail time, they'll tell you anything. Remember Sammy Gravano?
Right.
Remember that guy Elite that spoke against me? The point is, Mr. Cohen knows that he's a target all the time. He does not do things wrong for the fact that he's more scrutinized than anybody.
Well, another guy who I guess was a target at one time ran Lehman Brothers. It looks like, as we were first to report on the Fox Business Network, they're probably not going to charge Dick Fold, the former CEO of Lehman Brothers, for the events that led up to the collapse of the firm. You've been with him up at Rayo's?
I love Dick Fold, and you want to know something? I can't believe that I was downtown at the major offices there. A business, 150 years in business, fell apart. Why the government didn't help them. And somebody very close to it even asked the same questions, why Lehman wasn't helped out along everybody.
Have you spoke to him recently?
I spoke to Dick Fold a couple months ago, and he's a dear friend of mine. I have a lot of respect for him. And you know what? He should have been bailed out the same way as everyone else.
You and I could be talking about this all day, but I'm going to finish with one more person, a potential mayoral candidate. It's not Elliot Spitzer. It's Dick Rosso.
Love him.
Do you think he's going to run for mayor?
pop up the phone on Dick a couple of weeks ago. A company wants to go get listed. I said, Dick, come over for a meeting. Dick jumps over there with me. Will he run? I hope he runs because he'd be a formidable candidate. And you want to know something? He has a personality.
Has he talked to you about it?
Yeah, he loves this city. He asked me to be a police commissioner. I says, that would never
Dick
happen.
Rosso asked Beau Dietl to be his police commissioner if he becomes mayor.
Absolutely. And I told him no, but I would be an advisor to him.
Well, guys, I don't think I could top that. Back to you.
Yeah, I broke some news there. Covered all kinds of topics and folks. Really interesting stuff. Beau Dietl, great to see you. Charlie, thanks to you as always. So don't forget, Beau Dietl, author of the new book, Business Lunchitations.
Yeah, Rayo's doesn't sound like the type of Italian restaurant where you got to sit in front of some fine artwork. Sounds like a much nicer place than that. I want to talk to you about